Boy, oh boy, that time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Welcome back, guys. It's time to get back to work. It's Tuesday evening. It's the 19th of October, 2021. My name is Joseph, and as always, welcome back to your nightly newsletter. Now, if you're watching for the first time tonight, it is great to have you with me. My job tonight is to help us fund the best trades, setting up for Wednesday's trading session. I got a great video in store for you tonight. Charts are all ready in the background. As you can see, gold's ready, Nasdaq's ready, S&P is ready. Glad to see you are ready right along with us. Got a lot of great trades on our radar for tomorrow, Wednesday's hump day trading session. Got some more big moves on the E-minis. Got a big reversal on the gold. There is no shortage of reliable, dependable, tradable opportunities for Wednesday's trading session. You know me. By the end of this video tonight, one of my favorite trades for tomorrow. You'll also know some stuff to keep yourself out of trouble tomorrow, whether you're trading on your own or you're trading with me tomorrow in our daily trade room. Before we jump into this video tonight, though, and get our hands dirty on these charts, got a lot to cover for Wednesday's trading session. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. I publish these videos with our best trade ideas, our trading psychology lessons. We publish these videos every evening on this YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe, hit that little bell icon, because a lot of these videos are very time sensitive, that we won't miss any updates here on this YouTube channel. If you guys have any questions, drop those questions for me in the comment section. And as always, I appreciate you guys carving out some time tonight. If you enjoy this video as much as I enjoy making it, hit that like button for me. Really appreciate you guys spending some time with me this evening, even though we got some baseball playoffs going on in the background. But let's get this intro out of the way. Let's get the video going. Wednesday is right around the corner. What's on the radar for tomorrow? S&P, Nasdaq, both very bullish right now. Boy, these melt up markets just continue. You can definitely smell the FOMO in the markets right now on the E-mini and the Nasdaq. Of course, buyers, of course, kind of pumping these things up on low volume today. This melt up scenario right now. Melt up markets are pretty interesting. We're on day number 2 of these melt up markets. Low volume the entire way going higher. There's a couple key setups I always look for whenever we have a couple days of these low volume kind of melt up markets. I'm going to talk about the long side and really my favorite, dare I say, with the short side here for tomorrow. Over on the gold right now, gold of course went up and then rolled back down this afternoon. Bears have a lot of momentum right now, and I'd love to get some shorts to finish off that retest of the low on the gold. You know me though. I'm going to make sure we're ready for pretty much anything. We got a range above us on the gold. Even though the buyers don't have a very easy job on the gold right now, I definitely have potential for some rally going higher. So we'll make sure we get you guys covered, both the short side and the long side on the gold. So whether you trade in the S&P, the Nasdaq, or the yellow metal, the gold futures tomorrow morning, this video will make sure you know where the good stuff is going to be. Speaking of tomorrow morning, though, why don't we take a look quickly here at the calendar for tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, is the 20th day of the month of October. As I mentioned in last night's video newsletter, we don't have a lot of news, major news, until Thursday and Friday this week. And tomorrow is, unless you're trading oil, there really isn't a lot on the schedule until we get tomorrow afternoon. You can see there's a bunch of Fed speakers from Evans to Bostic to Kashkari and, of course, to Quarles. Now, remember, the Fed speakers right now, people are listening into the Fed speakers closely right now. They're listening in to hear if they're going to break the ranks. And what I mean by that is last week we heard from Jerome Powell, right, the head of the Fed, and he basically alluded to the fact that we were going to be getting ready to see some tapering of stimulus, raising rates, buying less bad debt starting in the month of November. The reason why we'll be listening in to these Fed speakers tomorrow is because we're looking for any clues as far as when that might begin, how much it's going to be, and the markets will definitely be kind of obsessing about that over the next couple days here. So, there's no major news on the schedule, but we do have some Fed speakers tomorrow over lunch, and I'll tell you, if they stick their foot in their mouth, if you will, we may see some pretty good movements tomorrow afternoon. So definitely keep your eyes open tomorrow afternoon if you're around your desk tomorrow afternoon. Outside of that, that, there's no major news until we get that beige book report, right, tomorrow afternoon. So, not a lot of news tomorrow morning in the morning session. So we'll be looking, of course, to see what the market does in the overnight. Speaking of the overnight, let's get some charts going here. We've got the calendar all checked up for tomorrow. Again, no major news to worry about tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon definitely looks like something that we may see some big headlines. We may see some good movement tomorrow afternoon. S&P, Nasdaq are both very bullish right now. Gold, of course, you can see is quite bearish. Let's jump right into the S&P 500 to start our session off here this evening. The S&P and the Nasdaq are both going on pretty much day number 2 of relatively big moves on low volume. We call these melt-up markets. And melt-up markets are a classic example of FOMO. We have the all-time highs are right up overhead. They're at 45.40. And what we're seeing right now, the last couple days, everyone bidding this thing up here, pretty much ever since the opening bell on Monday, was just a simple FOMO, right? Scarcity. People don't want to miss this opportunity to grab some profit on the way back up before we retest those all-time highs. What concerns me right now is you'll notice the bulls definitely have control, but we've got a considerable amount of measured move resistance, and then of course major areas of resistance at 45.20, 45.31. So we're definitely very bullish right now, and obviously we do want to be a buyer when the market is this bullish, but at the same time though, you have to look at this chart right now. We're 2 days into this low volume melt up situation. You have to think the easier money tomorrow is probably going to be on the short side. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going long, right? It doesn't mean we can't be a buyer on this, but it definitely does mean I would like to see a relatively deep pullback, rope in some of those counter trend bears, and use their stops as some fuel for us. So major component right now is we're bullish. Again, we're running into major resistance. We do have some ranges down here, and of course ranges are going to act like magnets. How do we want to trade this thing right now? We'd love to see a pullback on this, right? Now the pullback that I really want right now, I'd like to get us nice and deep off the high, trap in some of these bears, get those bears to try a couple times, and then once those bears start calling those shorts right on the other side, I now have their stop losses, and we can use those stops now basically as fuel to trigger the entry going higher, right? So we know we're bullish. I just don't want to get caught buying up top here, right? So I want to wait for that pullback, try to get those bears to come in, get them to try twice. We call these failure setups. This, of course, would be a 2-try failure. Once we have those bears trying twice, then I have all their stops sitting right above that high. We're very bullish again, very bullish. So if I can trap in those bears, that'll give me a nice small risk, right? Big reward to go back up and retest the high. It's a very desirable trade as long as we rope in those bears below the moving average. Now, don't forget, whenever we get those deep pullbacks like this, watch that failure, but also keep an eye out for a trap entry as well. Traps are really, really great after you see those deep pullbacks, 2-try failure, into that trap. That would really be how I would like to or prefer to trade this pullback. Now, the pullback is oftentimes is also where things get interesting for the sellers on this. There's a couple different ways I'd like to short this thing as it pulls back. In fact, there are 3 different types of reversals I'm looking for at these highs. Here's the first one. I'd like to see if these buyers can try once, pull back, try twice, and then get a crown reversal off the high. These are not as common as I wish they were, right? The key is you want to be up at an area of resistance. You want to see buyers try twice. We like to use that 2-try rule for the reversal. And there's a couple different ways you can short this. My favorite is with a trap high. Another great spot is to mark up the lows up at those highs and use that hidden channel. All right, that's a great trade. We call these crown reversals. And then between you, me, and the wall, once this thing starts to dump and run lower, I can then go out. Once it starts to dump and go lower now, right, I can then go out, mark a new channel off that low, mark a new channel off that high, and I can short that first pullback. Now, my 2 favorite price action entries off the high of that channel, right? They're obviously in a faster time frame, will be traps and failures. All right, I'm going to talk more about traps. We'll talk more about failures as we go deeper into this video, right? But that will be kind of how I'd like to short this. That'd be one of the three different ways we can sell this. Another way would be, let's say we see a relatively deep pullback, but now instead of the bears coming in and struggling and failing, like we talk about in the buy setup, now those bears come in and they hold the pullback and they start to jump going lower. Now remember on this one, it doesn't matter how deep the pullback is. All that matters is can the bears actually hold the break, hold the pullback, and send the market running lower. Once we have that 1, 2, 3 reversal pattern, then I can go out, I can mark up that low, I can mark up that high, I can drill down to a faster time frame. And again, my two favorite entries are those traps and failure setups off the high of that channel. Now, the third and final way, I guess not final way, there are a couple more here, but I'm not gonna go over too much detail for tomorrow. But another way to short off this high, let's say now that instead of getting that 1, 2, 3 go, now what happens is we end up rolling over and we start to grind. We start to grind. We start to grind. This happens quite a bit, especially in these lower volume environments. When that happens, just mark up that low, mark up that high, find yourself a trap and hit that trap. This is one of my favorite reversals. It does take a little bit of patience, obviously, because, it's going to pull back. It's not going to jump and run lower. It's just going to kind of grind, right? Like a slinky rolling down a flight of stairs. I think kids still play with slinkies these days, right? Don't they? So we definitely have that for the short as we're going lower as well. So 3 different types of reversals, right? As we pull back here, and one nice deep pullback to be a buyer. What if we keep going higher here, right? How could I buy this as the market goes higher? Well, we've got some pretty good targets up there, right? If we can simply crack through this area. So a couple ways to buy this would be, let's say the market pulls back, the buyers come in, and once again, they keep the party going higher. If that's the case now, I'm going to go out and find a brand new channel. I'm going to drill down to my faster time frame, and I'm going to grab those seller failures. I'm going to grab those bear trap entries off the low of that channel. Another one of my favorite kind of breakout trades going higher on the way up to our runaway zone target would be, let's say the market continues to grind higher again. And at that point now, again, I can mark up that high, mark up that low, look for that trap. Again, these are some of my favorite entries, these traps. A lot of times what will happen is the market will really jump higher. It'll give you a shallow pullback, a higher high in price, and that's where you find that trap entry. And again, as I mentioned earlier, extra bonus points if you can find a channel off that high and combine that channel, right, to trigger that trap off the low. Now, as you can see, I'm talking a lot about trap entries. Traps are my favorite price action setup. They're not the most common, though. The more common setup are failures, pullbacks, and strength setups that we see in our trade room. I'm not going to go over all the smaller details of those entry patterns, but if you want to get a deeper dive, if you want to learn more about all the entry patterns, I cover those in a lot of detail in our quick start class. What I'll do is I'll put a little link up there for you in the upper right hand corner. I'll tell you, if you're like me and your goal is to earn income in these markets, you got to grab that quick start trading class, because that'll teach you my 3-step strategy, the same strategy we use in our trade room. It'll talk about how to find the best levels of support and resistance for different market conditions, how to trigger the entries, how to manage the trades. And on top of that, I provide hundreds of examples of how we apply things like our 2-try trap setups on our favorite futures markets. You'll see a lot of examples as part of that quick start class. So definitely grab that link that popped up in the upper right hand corner, and I'll see it inside the members section of our website. Again, it's free. It's a nice, easy shortcut that'll bring you right up to speed with how we trade in our trade room. So at this point now, we've got a pretty good idea of what to do. The only variation right now would be if this market begins to go sideways, right? If it does start going sideways, what do we do in a bull market that goes sideways? What we do is we find levels of support below the range and we trade the rotation. We wait for that pullback. We wait to rope in the bears with a failure pattern. And then here's the kicker. We trade the rotation. We find that new channel. We buy that pullback. And we use the pendulum swing to find the target on the other end. Again, if it goes sideways, find that support level below the range. And you'll learn more about how to find the right levels of support in that free quick start class that I mentioned earlier. Find that support level, mark up or wait for the pullback into support. Don't try to pick a bottom on it. Picking a bottom is difficult, right? Picking a bottom is difficult. Wait for the failure and then find that new channel and then grab that first test of that channel. Again, if you don't understand the terminology, not to worry, grab that quick start class and you'll learn all that stuff. It's very, very simple stuff. Once you take the quick start class, you'll learn more of those details. But that's what I'm looking for here, to buy it or, of course, to sell it for tomorrow. Again, we're very bullish right now, but you can't look at this chart right now and see all this area of resistance thing. Okay, the easier money here is on the sell side. Let's keep it going here. How about some NASDAQ? Over to the NASDAQ here tonight. NASDAQ is pretty similar, as you can see, to the S&P. The market, of course, is bullish. We have that trading range, which will act like a magnet for the sellers here tomorrow. We also, of course, have this strong breakout. Whenever we see a range breakout, the size of the breakout leg creates the measured move leg. And so you can definitely see here that measured move, multiple measured moves are just overhead or we're right at that area right now. On top of that, this whole area here, you'll notice, is a huge prior high, right? If I can get it all in there. It's a huge high up there, this 15,400 area. So again, like the S&P, we're definitely bullish. There's no doubt about that. The question is do I want to be buying up at these major highs after not just one big up day, but two big up days, right? And again, these are on low volume, right? These are not high volume moves. Whenever you see a very big move on low volume, that is the definition of FOMO in the market. For whatever reason, investors, speculators, hedgers, they're worried they're going to miss this move going back up to retest those all-time highs. At this point, 2 days of low volume rallying, we either need to see a really deep pullback, a trading range of some sorts, or I'm looking for the short side here tomorrow. So very similar again, as we talked about on the S&P. So what I want to do is I've got two channels here on the NASDAQ. You'll notice I have really what would be, if this was 9:45 tomorrow morning, I would say let's buy the low of that channel. If we were at 9:45 tomorrow after the opening bell, I would say that's where I want to be buying. But again, we're not. We're 6:15, 6:30 on a Tuesday evening going into the overnight Asian session. What I'd like to do is use this larger channel to get that big deep pullback we talked about earlier on the S&P, right? Get that nice deep pullback, get those bears getting roped in. Let me get rid of this smaller channel here, right? Get those bears roped in. Let them try to force this thing going lower, right? Like back here, right? We see a strong move up. We see a deep pullback. See what happens? The bears try once, the bears try twice, and the market rallies from there. Same thing. Deep pullback. Again, we're bullish, but I don't want to buy into these highs. I'm hoping that those bears now are going to come in and try a couple times to send it lower. If they try once, if they try twice, all of their stops are sitting right above that high now, and now we can look for that two-try failure pattern, we call it. Failure, and then remember, grab that new channel, drill down to your faster time frame, and grab that first pullback. The first test is always the best test. It's a two-try failure into that first channel test, as we call it in our trade room. And again, remember, we're not just blindly buying the low of anything. We never just blindly buy at support or sell at resistance. In this example, I'm looking for that bear trap, right, below the moving average. Looking for that seller failure. Failures oftentimes lead into pullback combinations. I'll talk more about that trifecta as we go deeper into this video. I got a couple of examples for you on the gold tonight. But that's the general idea of how I want to be a buyer on this pullback. And then again, if we were to, let's say, for example, pull back, and the buyers try to send it higher once, right? They pull back, try to go once, we go lower, try to go a second time now. This is a money trade right here. Mark up that trap. That's your crown reversal, right? There's your crown reversal. Mark up this low off that high. Beautiful short, right? Again, all you're doing is you're waiting for those buyers to try a couple times, right? Remember, it's very bullish right now. We don't want to try to pick a top, especially not in a market like this right now. But if I can get this thing to pull back, get those buyers trying to buy it once, go lower, buyers trying to buy it twice, right? Again, to get that channel, to short off that channel. Do we get that trap, right? To short off that, right off that trap. It's a 1-try, 2-try reversal. We call these crown reversals because they look like a crown, right? With that lower low and that trap high above. Beautiful potential reversal there off those highs. And then don't forget, don't just kick up your feet on the desk and brag about how great that reversal is. Find that new channel off those lows and be ready for that first pullback. A lot of times what happens too is the market will kind of tumble and grind down like this, right? So you've got your short off the high. Now go out, mark up that low, find that new channel. Remember, there's your trap entry right there. That's a money trade too, right? Both of these are really, really high percentage, very dependable. You can build your career on that crown reversal. And then again, once it tumbles, you draw that channel off the lows, you find that high, and you hit it off that high. Bull trap, buyer failure setup, again, stuff you'll learn inside that quick start class that I mentioned earlier. That's an easy way to short off the high. We may not get the buyers though. The buyers may not try it, right? We may end up going lower. The moving average may come over. They may hold that pullback and they may jump. Now, again, remember, it doesn't matter how deep the pullback is. It doesn't matter how strong the pullback is. The question is can they hold that pullback off the moving average? If they can get that 1, 2, 3 reversal pattern, as we call it, now I can mark up that low, I can mark up that high, and I can now go out, again, drill down, right? We're not going to trade this off a 4,000 tick chart, right, which is what this time frame is. They're all tick charts in this video because if you're a price action trader like I am, tick charts are your favorite time frames. Anyways, long story short, 1, 2, 3 reversal, drill down, right? Find your bull trap, find your buyer failure. A lot of times what happens is we'll get that deep pullback, we'll get up above the moving average. It'll be that failure into pullback combination, right? If you were to kind of zoom in on that area right there, right? If you were to zoom in on that area right there, up around the high of that channel, failure, pullback combination. Again, I'm just simply scribbling on the screen right now. I have hundreds of examples of those failure pullback combos inside of that quick start trading class. And then again, don't forget, if we do run lower, but instead of getting that failure back up, instead of getting that jump off the moving average, we start to grind, right? Grind. This is an easy trade. Don't chase after it. Mark that low, mark that high. And again, this is identical. We was talked about, right? But same idea, right? Same idea. Wait for that trap, right? Wait for that trap. Wait for that buyer failure into pullback combo. There could easily be 3 different entry setups, maybe even a strength move as we're going lower. You'll learn all those price action entry patterns inside that quick start class, right? That'll cover, of course, the short side there and, of course, the long side. The other thing, of course, is what if we go higher? What if we go higher? Same thing as on the S&P, right? So if we do hold this pullback and jump, yeah, I'm going to go out, I'm going to find that new channel, and I'll just keep on following this trend. I'm not going to buy this pullback right now because, again, we're right at some major turning points, but if we can get this thing to 1 to go, then, of course, at that point, we know the odds are very, very good. There'll be a lot of buyers looking to buy that first pullback off the low of that channel. It's a bear trap. It's a seller failure entry trigger that you learn in the quick start class. Or maybe it blasts up, right? Maybe it blasts up, strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price. When you get something like this, and we saw one of these on gold, we talked about it last night on the newsletter. When you see those strong moves up, those shallow pullbacks, those higher high in price, what happens is the strength of the market, of course, gives the market to the bulls. The shallow pullback drives the pullback traders crazy because they can't find the entry in. The higher high confirms the move. Anytime we get that little trap below that low, right? Say it with me. Strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price, traps, baby, right? That's one of my favorite trades here. And then this, of course, in this case, right, in a bull market. Where do we think the buyers want to go right now? The buyers have their next objective. They're at 15,525 area, right? 15,530 area. If we see a breakout, though, we'll use that as a measured move. So just be aware of that. If we do see a strong breakout going higher, we'll continue to keep on legging up that measured move. And so we'll know more about that once we get there. Where do the bears want to get to? The bears want to get back down into this trading range, but if they get back into this range, the odds are pretty good they're going to keep on going to get back down to that low of day from today. All right, so just be aware. Just be aware of that for tomorrow. Those are trades I'm looking for tomorrow, and of course, all some stuff to stay away from. Right, be very careful buying this shallow pullback right now because of exactly where we are. Multiple levels of measured move resistance, and again, this 15,400 area is a major top. Again, we're definitely bullish, but the easier money certainly looks like it's on the sell side. Let's wrap things up tonight with the gold, the yellow metal, of course. If I go back and look at last night's newsletter video, we talked about the fact that we had this spike in channel, if you recall. And again, if you watch this video newsletter quite a bit, you know how important spike in channels are because they tell us exactly where the market wants to go, right? And we talked about this last night. We talked about how it would probably be a good idea to grab a 2-try trap, which is exactly what that is. Right? So market races higher because, of course, you had that rising support trend line that we talked about last night. So what a good example in the gold today of that pump up and then dump it back down, right? I mentioned last night my favorite trade would be that strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high, and that 2-try trap, right? It's always going to be a money trade right there. And then, of course, once we get up into these highs now, the buyers try once, the buyers try twice, and we sink back down again. So right now, the bears have one thing on their mind. They're trying to go back and retest some of these lows at 1762 and change, right? We got a lot of bear momentum. And you can really see here, and we talked a lot about this on the S&P and the Nasdaq, the market pops up, the buyers once, buyers twice, and see how we're now kind of grinding down right now? Yeah, that's exactly where you find that new channel, mark off that low, mark off that high, and simply look for the short off of that high right now. I really like, by the way, how this support trend line, that for the most part probably was one of the biggest reasons why this market didn't go lower and jumped higher first. That support trend line now can be used as just a beautiful area of resistance here. So, the most important thing right now in the gold is the bears have control. We are back inside that range from yesterday. The bears are likely to be looking for a retest of that 1762 area, and we're just simply waiting right now to see what type of pullback that we're going to get. Now, this could get pretty deep. This pullback could get pretty deep here. I would like to get us up around this area. That would be where I would love to short this thing. But, the underbellies of those ranges, they do oftentimes come in when you least expect expect them. So I definitely looking at that area as a breakout pullback area. And honestly, guys, even if we end up back up at these highs, I still think there's great options here for a short off of those highs. It's all obviously going to be different setups because momentum be different here. So how do we trade this stuff right now? I think the best possible spot right now will be a trap into failure, right? So trap high above that prior swing, lining up off the top of that channel. Again, if I can get that trend line, that'd be even better. It's a great looking setup there. Get that trap, get that failure. Remember, what's going to happen is the buyers will come in and they'll try to buy that pullback, right? It's not a bull market though. It's a bear market right now. So once those buyers try to buy that pullback, all their stop losses are sitting right below that low, right? It's a bear market with a ton of momentum going lower here. If we can get that pullback, get those buyers to take the bait off the moving average, that creates now that trap, that buyer failure, and then if we really get lucky here, we'll get that pullback set up and go forward from there. Does it make sense? Right? It's a bull trap of a prior swing off top of that channel. It's a buyer failure off the moving average. And then, of course, it's a pullback setup on the other side of the moving average. 3 of my 4 favorite price action setups. And who knows, maybe we do see a strength move on the way down to retest that low. So we definitely have potential there as we go. Now, what if we really jump higher here? If we really jump higher here right now and kind of get up into this area here, it looks like there probably will be a bit of rising support. So my favorite way to short this thing if it really pops going higher here is going to be to use the 2-try failure, but try to use the trend line as the entry trigger. So I want to sell it up here again because we're so bearish right now. But if it really pops up like this, that momentum combined with that trend line is going to make it easy for these buyers to put their back into it, right? So I want to let them try once, let them try twice, and ideally, I'd like to get that short again off of that trend line. We may not get it off that trend line. You know what I mean? We may end up getting something like this. If I can draw that up there, right? It may end up popping, running up. The buyers try once, the buyers try twice, and we end up running lower. When that happens, stay patient and wait for the trap. It'll almost always come back to help you get in off that trap. Make sense, right? So again, if we do go all the way back up, it's a lot of momentum now for the bulls. I have to do 2 things. I have to make sure the buyers try twice. Okay, kind of rope them in. I can use their stops as fuel. And again, that trend line is going to be a little bit of an obstacle there. So I want to get underneath it. The ideal scenario, again, is that we have that trend line here. A lot of momentum of it. Again, the buyers come in, they try once, they try twice, and we short either off that trend line, or we drop our sell in just underneath that low. It's that same 2-try failure setup we talked about last night, and we talked about quite a bit here this evening already. And then remember, when this thing drops and runs lower, don't just kick your feet up on the desk. Keep on hustling. Find that low, find that high, right? That channel, draw the channel backwards, as we say. Drill down to your faster time frame and find the entry from there. So again, it's a 1-try, 2-try failure, either off the trend line or selling into stop losses. And then again, it's that first test. The first test of the top of that channel is always the best test, because a lot of folks, they won't have the guts or the strategy they need to sell that deep pullback. And so when it turns over like that, everybody piles on into the entry off the high of that channel. That's something we're looking for, right, as we go higher here. So those are the setups as we pull back. If we really pull back deep, that's what I'm looking for as we go. What if we keep going lower? Right? What if we keep going lower here? If the mark keeps on grinding lower, you know my game plan, right? I'm going to keep on finding that channel. I'm going to keep on waiting for that pop. Keep getting that trap, that failure, that pullback combo. Again, I know I'm just simply kind of scribbling the screen right now, but I provide hundreds of examples of that and a very detailed breakdown of those price action entries inside that quick start class. So grab that link before it's too late here tonight when this video is over. So if it keeps going lower, we're definitely going to keep an eye on those bounces off the low, trap, failure as we go. If we start to go sideways here, and it wouldn't surprise me, we have that range. We have that range from late last week. If the market was to go sideways here, it's a bear market into a trading range. And it could be here, it could be here, it could be here, it could be anywhere really. If we're bearish into a range, what do? We find levels of resistance up above the range. We wait for the pullback. We don't pick a top. Picking tops and bottoms are rookie mistakes. Let those buyers help you. Let those buyers try to come in and buy that pullback. And once they do, you know exactly where their pain is. You know exactly where those buyers are forced to become sellers. At that point, that failure pattern. Think about it. Think about it, right? If you're selling that, the buyers are now selling out of their long positions, and the sellers are selling it because, again, it's so bearish at resistance above a range. It's a fantastic trade. Then what we want to do is don't forget, trade the rotation. Okay, we talked about trading rotation in our last trading psychology video. Mark that low, mark that high. We know where the market wants to go, right? We can take the amount we move above, right? Take the amount above the range, project that below the range, and that creates your next target. Okay, so again, we're selling the failure, and then we're selling, I say the pullback, but again, it's usually a bull trap or a buyer failure, right? It's not usually just a pullback setup off the high of that channel. You'll learn more of that in that trading class I mentioned earlier, right? That's how we trade this thing as it goes sideways here and rolls. All right, guys, so I'll tell you, got a lot of great trades setting up for tomorrow. Will we pull back? If so, how far do we pull back? Will we go sideways? Will we keep on grinding lower? Will the E-minis get that reversal we're hoping for? We'll see. Remember, guys, we are traders. We'll take whatever the market gives us here tomorrow, right? If it keeps on going higher, we're going to plan for that. If we get the 2-trend reversal, we get a plan for that. And speaking of plan, don't forget, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, we're going to trade this plan together. I have all the rules, all the cheat sheets, everything you guys need. So come out and join me every morning at the opening bell. I'll put all of the membership information you guys need in the description of this YouTube video. I'll also put a big button for you right below me tonight on the website. So hit that button or grab that link in the description. Get registered. And if you have any questions along the way, if you want any more information about different membership specials right now, just call the toll-free number there. That will ring right to our office here in Los Angeles. I'll pick up the phone, answer all your questions, and get you the information you need, right, to get you going in the right direction. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video tonight. Hopefully you guys learned a bunch. I will hopefully see you tomorrow morning at the opening bell. If not, come back and see me tomorrow night, right? Tomorrow night we'll come back. We're going to keep these videos coming all week this week. So make sure you subscribe to our channel. And I hope by now you've hit that like button if you enjoyed this video here tonight. Drop me a comment in the comment section below. Call the office if you have any questions. And you better grab that free quick start class to learn the setups. That way you're ready for anything tomorrow morning. Guys and gals, that's it for me. Who you got tonight? Can the Dodgers, can they come back from down 0-2? Is this the year the Braves can finally get back to the World Series? Who you got tonight? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Rest up. Have a great evening. Enjoy the game tonight. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, either in the trade room or tomorrow night on the next edition of our nightly newsletter. My name is Joseph. Be well, be nice to each other, and be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.